So we have been conditioned and raised not to be critical thinkers, just programmed to, give the right answer in school, go along with the flow. That's what's rewarded. Critical thinking is not rewarded because this is significant. So how did they manage to hide the giant trees from us? Well, they don't look like trees anymore. They call them mesas. They call them buttes, volcanoes, all manner of names. And that's what they look like. There's no big giant tree there. There's a stump. And it's rock. So they can get away with it and say, oh, well, this happened millions of years ago during whatever geologic era. And all the deserts that we see are the result of desertification over centuries or whatever. We're going to cover a lot of ground in this presentation, but that's kind of a good starting point. How have they hidden this? And so with this picture, what came to mind is we just see the tree stumps because the tops were blown off. And that's been bugging me because it's like, what happened to the trees? How did they do this? I see the evidence everywhere now, but how did they make the giant trees go away? So whatever this diagram that you sent represents, that's kind of what comes to me as an explanation for what we see today. And we're calling this presentation Giant Trees, the Earth Grid, and the New World Order. And I thought this was a fitting starting point because this looks as a good an example of anything that I've seen that would explain why we don't see giant trees anymore. They're in name. There's places around where I live in Arizona, Cottonwood, Oak Creek Canyon, Sycamore Canyon, Oak Creek Wash, which I think used to be railroad tracks. They have washes all over. Some are even called railroad washes. And Arizona is a good example because I think this place was covered in giant trees. I'm going to give you some examples close to where I live. And this place is just laid waste. And we'll talk about that too. So I wanted to start here and then move on to our first conversation. Because basically you said, hey, Michelle, we need to have a conversation about giant trees, essentially. And what intrigued me is when Chad sent me his Mother Earth giant tree video shortly before we had our conversation. As I wasn't on the giant tree bandwagon at that time, so they weren't on my radar. But we were finding exactly the same things with our different lines of research. I was finding mines, clay pits, asylums, amusement parks. It's like we were coming to the same places through our different work styles and how we do things.